from a family of West Virginians. Both of my parents are from Charleston, West Virginia. And we come from a very a poor family. I mean, there's not much going on in West Virginia. There's they left West Virginia to DC so that they could find better living, better employment, etc. And so I find it very interesting looking at things from that perspective. By the way, West Virginia was also the most likely to vote for Trump. So I found it interesting that my liberal-leaning husband thought that liberals were more represented in the lower class, and that Republicans were more represented in the upper class, which I thought was very interesting because that is how liberal propaganda wants people to believe. That's what they want them to believe. But that's not true, because what we've been seeing throughout the world is a rise in populism. Populism, by definition, is basically focused on the lower class and them wanting to have their say, having their say in the vote in democracy, and differentiating themselves from the upper class, saying this is a vote for the people, not for the fat cats at the top. And I'm going to give you all an opportunity to participate. Think of a populist leader in the world and just say a name.
Trump.
Okay.
Boris Johnson.
No.
Le Pen.
Benjamin Netanyahu. Viktor Orban.
Yeah. So as we can see, we all know of various populist leaders throughout the country, I mean, throughout the world. And what's interesting is that this rise in populism is also affecting how our classes function. Last time, I kind of gave this in a different order, but I've changed the order up for this speech. I'm going to first talk about the upper class, the middle class, then the lower class. Leave them for the end, leave the best for last. But before that, I'm also going to talk about the causes. So potential causes for why is populism so popular is because there's been a failure in economic policy throughout the world. There's been a lot of globalization. This is part of a result or a backlash against globalization. And there are also economic and cultural factors. So to start off with the upper class has economic power, obviously, but they also have political power. But their political power is different from how the other classes have political power. Their political power is more in terms of they might actually buy off of one of the people in politics. They might actually bribe someone in politics. They might encourage them to follow their views as opposed to their own views for benefits or incentives. That's a very unique type of political power. The middle class tends to have a lot of power, though, which you don't think about. You think that the rich has a lot of power. It's actually the middle class right now that has the most power. They have social power, they have cultural power, and they have political power. But their political power is more of a grassroots political power, where it's more word of mouth. It's more, they're spreading ideas just by talking with their friends and being on Facebook, on social media. There's even a term that's come about called bourgeois, and this came from France. So it's I think it was a combination of boorish bourgeoisie. The middle class represents the bourgeoisie, not the upper class. The middle class, they also represent people who are very educated. And education in the different political parties kind of looks different. So on the Liberal Party, people think that they're educated because they went to school and they learned all this amazing stuff in school, and now they're smart and they're going to be forever smart for the rest of their lives. However, on the right side, you might see more people who went to school and became smart despite going to school. For the working class, you also have political power again, but at a grassroots level, word of mouth. But they're also alienated from social power, cultural power, and economic order. So it's very interesting that they are the ones that have dominated in terms of voting. Those are the people who have made their voices heard, despite the fact that they don't have seeming power in many other respects. And so it was their chance to say, this is my vote. You can't take my vote away from me. And so this explains why we have a lot of populist leaders, because we have a lot of votes saying, this is my vote, you can't take it from me. Now, populism is not just specific to one party or the other. There's populism in all parties. It just means that it's a vote for the people. But one solution that we can have in terms of getting the two parties to get along better together is different ideas like Peace Corps, AmeriCorps. And part of the reason for this is because, one, these things are more likely to increase trust and increase unity. You get to talk across the fence and explain your point of view with someone else who shares a different point of view. You get to see all different types of people and talk with them. And then people who do take part in the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps are more likely to vote. And so therefore we get trust, unity, and more votes. Thank you.